Snow drifting through the air, stars shimmering in a black winter sky, warm houses glowing behind frosted windows. But this year, the world was grey. Warm rain dipped from heavy clouds. Soggy leaves clung to my boots, and the bare trees stretched at the sky like something trying to claw its way out. Plastic Christmas trees stood on the street corners, their cheap tinsel sagging from the damp. A washed-out poster of a forgotten performer peeled off of a billboard nearby. I took a picture of the rental car for the insurance app, tossed my phone into the backpack. There wasn't even a phone mount inside, and climbed into the driver's seat. A few adjustments, a quiet prayer not to crash the car before the New Year's Eve, and I set off toward the place my family insisted on calling home. Every year, all of us met far away from the city, in a lonely wooden house standing alone in the middle of endless fields. No neighbors, no lights, just us. When I was a child, it felt like a prison sentence. Weeks in isolation with relatives who barely noticed I existed. But now, at 28, I could leave whenever I wanted. And why not spend one evening together, eat too much, sleep too long, and pretend we are a normal family? Besides, I had my dues. New job, new life, a one-way ticket to the sea. I would tell them tonight. Maybe they'd be proud of me. Maybe. The road was empty. A few cars passed and even one bus, but otherwise the highway stretched out like a wet, shimmering ribbon. Radio static cut in and out between half-heard New Year greetings. Then the car jogged sideways. I gripped the wheel, slammed the brakes, and instinctively stomped the empty left side, where the clutch would have been. Old habits from a manual. The car skidded to a stop. Flashers on. Deep breath. I stepped outside. No eyes, no branches, nothing. But the asphalt was cracked. Split like it had been struck by a giant hammer from below. Trees lined the road, their bark sliced off cleanly, as if shaved with a blade the size of a door. A memory flickered, me at 10 years old, touching the same kind of cut bark in these woods, asking my father what could do that. He never answered. My mother pretended she didn't hear. A child crawled up my spine. I returned to the car and drove faster, 5 more kilometers to the house, but the parking spot for the rental was farther east, so I had to make a detour. By the time I reached the market stop, night had fallen. A lone kiosk, a pharmacy, a shabby shawarma stall, nothing else. I pulled my hood low, returned the car through the app, and rummaged through my backpack until my fingers found the pepper spray, just in case. Our family was small. My parents, my father's elderly parents, my aunt Lisa, her overgrown man-child son Misha, and my bedridden grandmother, who drifted in and out of reality. No friends were invited, no partners, no outsiders, ever. I never questioned it, but later I would wish I had. I crossed the empty field toward the house. A fallen trunk blocked bark of the path. Its bark stripped clean, just like the ones on the road. I knocked on the door. Footsteps, a familiar voice. Our favorite girl is here. Grandpa swung the door open, and the smell of the new year rushed out at me. Salads, mandarins, old TV voices shouting at one another. He hugged me, drunk and cheerful. Inside, my mother and my aunt ran out around settling the table. My father lay on the couch as if nailed to it, and Misha hovered nearby like a useless ornament. Everything looked normal, so painfully, deceptively normal. I dropped my backpack, forced a smile. Happy New Year, everyone. It always amazed me how a house could feel both familiar and deeply wrong at the same time. From the outside, our family home looked like nothing more than a run-down wooden box lost in the middle of nowhere. No neighbors, no lights except our own. Just miles, miles, miles and miles. of empty fields, a thin wall of trembling trees, and the constant smell of wet soil. Inside, everything was loud. Bright, chaotic, my aunt's laugh, clattering dishes, the TV blaring some New Year special nobody was actually watching. But underneath the noise was something else, a pressure, a silence humming inside the walls, waiting for the moment it could breathe. I felt it the moment I stepped in, like walking into a room where someone had just been talking about you and stopped a second too late. "Take off your coat," my mother ordered, not turning around. She was slicking something with quick, angry motions that told me she was stressed, though she'd never admit it. I hung the coat, trying to ignore the stretch itch at the back of my spine, like eyes, not human eyes. My grandfather poured me juice like I was still 10 years old and not almost 30. Misha hovered, open-mouthed and staring as if unsure whether to greet me or chew on a cable like usual. Everything was as expected. Everything was fine. So why did I feel like something was standing just outside the window watching us through the glass? And then I remembered the tree trunks, the ones sliced open like someone had peeled them with a perfect blade. I tried to shake it off, but the image kept returning. The clean cuts, the strange silence of the forest, the way the road felt like it was holding its breath. I looked out the window. Fog. Thick, heavy fog, pressing against the glass like a living thing. And though the fog fined the field, I swear I saw a shape. Something tall, something almost architectural. A structure that shouldn't have been there, a second house. But when I blinked, it was gone. "Dina!" my aunt yelled, dragging me back to reality. We moved to the long wooden table, the one we'd outgrown years ago, but continued to squeeze around as if pretending tradition could fix anything. My mother placed a plate in front of me, looked at me sharply and said, "Go wake your grandmother." My stomach tightened. Grandma hadn't spoken properly in years. Sometimes she muttered, sometimes she stared at the ceiling as if reading something written in a language only she understood. She lived in the far room, the coldest part of the house, where drafts whispered under the door even when every window was shut. I didn't want to go there. I never did. But I nodded and made my way down the hall. The floor creaked beneath my steps, and boards bending in the strange rhythm, as if something underneath them shifted slightly when I walked by. I opened the door quietly. Grandma lay in bed, thin as paper, her silver hair spread like frost over the pillow. I leaned closer. "Grandma," I whispered, "it's dinner time." Her eyes snapped open. She grabbed my wrist with surprising strength and hissed, "Go away!" Sharp, sober, terrified. Her fingers dug into my skin as she repeated, "Don't go to them. Leave them." My breath caught. "Grandma, what?" Her voice cracked into one desperate shaking whisper. "They called you." That's when the light flickered. Once, twice, then stabilized. I stood still, heart pounding, as Grandma stared past me toward the window in her room and whispered, "They are already here." And for a split second, in the reflection of that window, I saw the shape again. Not a house, something taller, something watching. Grandma's grip tightened on my wrist until her bones pressed into my skin. Her eyes, clouded for years, were suddenly crystal clear, focused, sober, awake in a way I hadn't seen since childhood, and terrified. "Go," she whispered again. "Go, as long as you can." Then she looked toward the hallway door, as if expecting someone or something to step through it. My voice trembled. "Grandma, who's there?" Her throat bowed. For a moment, I thought she wouldn't answer. Then she said the words that split something deep inside me. "It's not coming to the house." Her breath hitched. "It's coming for you." A cold wave moved up my spine. No fear, recognition, as if some part of me had been waiting to hear these words. The lights flickered a second time, longer, stronger. From the hallway, I heard footsteps, slow ones, deliberate, soft, dragging slightly as if someone was walking barefoot along the old wooden floor. But everyone was in the kitchen. The plates, the laughter, the clinking glasses, everything sounded far away now, muffled, like the house was swallowing the noise to hear something else. The footsteps stopped right outside Grandma's door. My entire body froze. Grandma's hand clamped tighter, her nails digging into my wrist. "Don't open," she breathed. The handle twitched. Only once. Just a taste. As if something on the other side was trying to come in by checking whether the door would open by itself. I didn't move. The door didn't open, but the space beneath it darkened. A shadow slid across the gap, slow and thin, like ink spilling from the crack. Not a person's shadow, not a shape that made sense. A shadow with no source. My breath started in my throat. I forced myself to whisper, "Grandma, what is that?" She didn't look at the shadow, she looked at me, at my chest, right over my heart. "They feel you," she said. "You are their light." I didn't understand, not then, but the shadow under the door twitched, as if it heard her, as if it agreed. And then, from somewhere deep in the house, a low creak echoed through the walls. Not like wood, like something shifting its weight, something huge, something standing much too close to the foundation of the house. I stepped back, my heartbeat punched inside my throat. "Grandma, what do they want?" She closed her eyes, and if the truth burned to say loud. "You," she whispered. "Only you." The kitchen erupted in laughter. Glass clinked, someone called my name. Normal sounds, happy sounds, sounds that didn't belong in the same world as the shadow under the door. The handle twitched again, this time harder. Grandma gasped and pulled me close, her voice cracking. "Don't go to them, don't go, whoever called you, don't go." But the worst part? The voice calling me from the kitchen was my mother's. And for a moment, just one. It sounded exactly like the voice outside the door. For a moment, everything was still. The shadow under Grandma's door didn't move, didn't shift, didn't retreat. It simply waited. But the voices from the kitchen kept calling my name. "Come on, dinner's ready." My mother's voice, warm, familiar, normal, not. There was something thready through it, a second tone, a second breath, a second rhythm that didn't belong to her, like someone speaking through her lungs. Grandma squeezed my wrist, her fingers shook. "Don't go," she begged. "She's not calling you. It is not her calling you." My heart hammered. Then who? Her eyes darkened with a terror I had never seen in her eyes. "Those who have come." The hallway creaked again, this time from the other end, the end where the kitchen was. Two sets of footsteps, one soft and familiar, my mother's. One heavier, slower, dragging like something too tall, too thin, was learning how to walk. I swallowed hard, my breath stuck in my throat. The footsteps stopped right where the hallway turned. Someone stood there. I could sense it, not see it, just sense it, like the air had shape. And then, "Honey?" It was my mother's voice. "Honey, are you there? Honey? Are you there, honey?" Yeah. A bit of silence. "Are you coming?" But hearing it from this close made the wrongness obvious. The tone was right, the pitch was right, the words were right. But the timing, the tiny pauses, the breaths between syllables, they belonged to something that didn't know how human speech worked. Something imitating, something practicing, something getting better. A cold whisper slid up my spine. It learned her name. I forced myself to speak. "Mama?" My voice cracked. "Is that you?" A bit of silence, and "Of course it's me." and the words were warm, reassuring, but stuck wrong, like someone was rearranging sound into sentences without understanding the meaning. Then the voice added quickly, "Come here." Another voice, my real mother's voice, called from the kitchen, "Stop messing around and hurry up." Two identical voices overlapping, one down the hallway, one far away, one human, one not. My blood froze. I whispered to Grandma, "There are two." She shut her eyes, pain twisted her face. "Yes," she pressed. "Now there are two." The hallway voices moved closer, not walking, sliding, like something tall, pressing along the wall, trying to fit itself into a corridor too narrow for its body. A dark shape lengthened along the floor, not quite a shadow, not quite a form. My pulse stopped. Whatever it was, it shouldn't be able to respond to words spoken quietly from Grandma's room, but it did. It whispered back, "Don't be afraid." My whole body trembled, because the whisper was my own voice. Grandma yanked my arm sharply. "Run," she hissed. "As long as the door closed. Run. Your family will protect you if you are in time." I stared at her, horrified. "You told me not to go to them. Now go." Her voice crackled, raw with desperation. "Unless that thing that is calling you hasn't taken your voice completely." My throat closed. The thing in the hallway slid another inch into the view. Long, tall, bent, a suggestion of limbs shaped from fog and memory. And in a broken version of my voice it whispered, "Don't go to them." Exactly the phrase my grandmother had said. It was learning from both of us. Copying, mimicking, replacing. Grandma pushed me towards the door. "Go!" The handle behind me rattled. The shadow under the door quaked like a living tongue. "No," the creature whispered, now speaking with my mother's voice perfectly this time. "Come here." Two voices, one human, one wrong, both calling me. Both waiting. I pushed the door open just a crack. The hallway was dark, filled with heavy, white shadows that clung into the walls like mold. For a second, nothing moved. No footsteps, no voice, no breathing. As if whatever stood there a moment ago was holding itself still, listening to my heartbeat. I stepped out. The air in the hallway was colder than Grandmother's room, the kind of cold that doesn't come from temperature, but from presence. Something had been there for a long time, something patient, something waiting for me to open the door. The wood creaked under my foot, and the whisper came instantly, "Honey?" My mother's voice almost. I forced myself to walk towards the kitchen. The hallway stretched ahead like a throat. Halfway through, I stopped because I saw her. My mother stood at the end of the hall, her silhouette backlit by a warm kitchen light, her posture familiar, her head tilted exactly the way she always tilted it when trying to see if I was upset. She smiled, softly, warmly. "Come here," she whispered. "What has happened?" My breath loosened. Relief flooded through me. It was Mom. She looked tired, worried, impatient in her usual way. Nothing strange, nothing wrong. I took a step toward her, and that's when I saw the second silhouette behind her. Not behind her. Overlapping. Like two images projected onto the same screen but slightly misaligned. A second head, a second pair of shoulders, a second outline leaning into its shape, like a parachute, learning how to wear skin. The smile on her face widened a fraction too much, and the other silhouette smiled one bit early. Before hers, my stomach dropped. That wasn't my mother. Or rather, my mother was there, but something else stood with her, inside her shape, learning, mimicking, replacing. I whispered, "Mom?" The figure stepped forward. Both silhouettes moved, but nothing sank. The real one lagged half a second behind, arms stiff, neck too slow. The wrong one moved first, fluid, eager, hungry. Yes, sweetheart, the merged voice breathed. Come here. My spine stiffened, because now I could hear it clearly. 2 breaths, 2 throat sounds, 2 rhythms, fused into one. The thing behind her leaned closer, rising taller than it should, stretching its shape through her outline like smoke. And with perfect imitation of her lips and voice, it whispered, I missed you. But my mother has never said those words in her life, not once. I stood back. The smile flickered. Once, twice, glitched like a broken screen. Both silhouettes froze. The wrong one tilted its head, a sharp, jerky motion that didn't belong to a human body. It watched me, not with eyes, with intent. Then it spoke, this time without hiding. Don't go back to her. My blood iced over. What do you mean? Both silhouettes leaned forward, stretching unnaturally through the frame of my mother's body. The creature answered in a low, loud whisper. She's too afraid to keep you. My heart slammed into my ribs, because that wasn't my mother. That wasn't the voice I knew. That wasn't anything that should have been inside my house. It smelled wider, too wide. We aren't. Behind me, at the other end of the hallway, Maria Massa called, Where are you? We're waiting for you. Her voice, alive, human, annoyed, echoed from the kitchen. It pulled me like gravity. I stumbled backward, never turning my back on the thing wearing her shape. The false mother tilted its head again, slow, sharp, unhuman. Then, with a voice smooth as warm breath, right beside my ear, it said, You will come to me later. And it stepped backward, melting into shadow, its outline unraveling like wet paper sinking into water. The hallway went silent. Only one mother remained, the real one, calling me, waiting, unaware. The kitchen felt too bright after the hallway. Warm lights, clanking dishes, laughter that didn't belong in a house surrounded by fog. My family sat at the table, my father at the head, my Aunt Lisa pouring drinks, Misha shoveling food into his mouth, like nothing in the world could ever surprise him. Only Grandma's chair remained empty, and only I knew why. My mother looked up, annoyed but relieved. There you are. What took you so long? I opened my mouth to answer, but something stopped me. A feeling, a shift, as if the room wasn't quite aligned with itself. As if reality tilted half a degree to the left. My eyes scanned the table. 7 plates, 7 napkins, 7 chairs, except no, that wasn't right. There should have been 8. I looked again, slower, counting under my breath. 1, 2, 3. My aunt, my mother, my father, Misha, my grandfather, me. 6. Plus Grandma's empty chair. 7. We were missing someone, but who? My heart froze. I opened my mouth, and my mother said cheerfully, Stop standing there. Sit. You're making the table uneven. Uneven. The word hit me like ice water down my spine, because that's exactly what Grandma said earlier about them. They don't like it when something is uneven. The room suddenly felt too small, too full, too wrong. I looked around again, forcing my brain to focus. There was someone missing. I could feel the hole they left behind, like a pulled thread in a sweater, like a missing tooth your tongue can't stop touching. I whispered, Where's Grandpa? My father didn't look up from his plate. He stabbed a piece of sausage with bored irritation. Who? My stomach dropped. Grandpa, I repeated. He met me at the door. He hugged me. My aunt frowned. What are you talking about? Papa died in the spring. The air vanished from my lungs. No, he did not. My voice shook. I spoke to him tonight, just an hour ago. My mother sighed, as if I were being dramatic. Oh, sweetheart, you must be tired. But her eyes didn't meet mine, because she knew something was wrong. They all felt it. They just didn't have a name for it. The chair at the end of the table where Grandpa always sat looked untouched, dry, dusty around the legs, as if no one had moved it in months. But that was not what chilled me. What chilled me was the 8th fork, placed neatly beside my plate, a place setting for someone who wasn't there, someone the house had erased. My family began eating again, talking, laughing, as if a person hadn't just vanished from the world, as if he had never existed, as if the house had reached into our memories and pulled out a thread, cleanly, perfectly, like streaming clothes. I sat there frozen. My plate stayed untouched, my fork lay exactly where it was, perfectly straight, perfectly aligned, and then I noticed something else. Under the table, beneath the wood, a shadow moved, small, quiet, the size of a man's silhouette, except nobody at the table was casting it. I kept staring at the place setting across from me, the empty chair, the 8 fork, the glass filled with juice as if waiting for someone who wasn't allowed to exist anymore. My family talked around it, their voices drifting like static, not noticing the absence, not noticing the wrongness. But under the table I saw movement again, a shape, a darker darkness, not cast by any of the lights above, a shadow sitting still, patient, right in Grandma's spot. My breath caught. My father reached for the salt and his hand passed through the shadow without noticing it, but I saw the shape flinch, as if it felt the intrusion, as if touch still meant something even to a thing made of darkness. I pushed my chair back slowly, the legs grabbed the floor, and the shadow's head snapped toward me, sharp, choking, unnatural, like it had been waiting for me specifically, like only I existed in that moment. My pulse pounded against my ribs. Grandpa? The words slipped out before I could swallow it. The shadow froze, and then, with a slow, agonizing effort, it nodded. A shape with no features, no face, no eyes, nodded. My skin went cold. My aunt paused mid-laugh. Her fork hung in the air. She frowned. Who are you talking to? I forced a cheeky smile. No one, just thinking aloud. She shrugged and went back to her story, oblivious. Because the house didn't erase people loudly, it didn't rip them off reality. It slid them out, like removing a playing card from a deck. But sometimes the card left a ghost behind, a shadow trying to say something it no longer had a voice for. I leaned down slowly, as if dropped a napkin, as if nothing was wrong. Under the table, the shadow didn't mimic anyone's shape anymore. It was changing, stretching, trying to form something that wasn't allowed to exist in light. I whispered, Grandpa, what did they do to you? The shadow lifted a hand, or the memory of one, and pointed, not at me, at the hallway, at the door to Grandma's room. My chest tightened. Grandma? Is she in danger? The shadow's hand shook violently, then slammed down flat on the floorboards, as if insisting, warning me, begging me to understand. My breath turned to ice. It wasn't pointing at Grandpa. It was pointing at the space beneath her door. The place where that thing had been waiting earlier. The place where the shadow with no source had seeped in. I swallowed hard. What's under the door? My voice trembled. What's there? The shadow rose from the floor, slowly, painfully, like lifting itself took enormous effort. It leans closer to me, its shape shivering as if torn between worlds, and traced one trembling word on the wooden floor with the tips of its finger. The wood darkened under the touch, burnt black like a scorch mark. I leaned closer, heart pounding. The word was crooked, slanted, barely formed, but I read it. It. The shadow vanished as soon as the word burned into the floor, not faded, not dissolved. It was yanked away as if something had grabbed it by spine and pulled it back into the dark. I I jogged upward, heart racing. My family kept eating, talking, laughing, as if nothing happened, as if no one had ever sat in that chair, as if no shadow had ever tried to warn me, as if Grandpa had never existed. Their voices sounded distant now, muffled, watery, like I was sitting underwater listening to the echoes from the surface. Only one voice cut from the fog, Grandma's, from her room, faint, choked, calling me, crying. I stood up so abruptly, my chair fell backward. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the small kitchen. Everyone turned to look at me. My mother frowned. "What's wrong now?" My aunt sighed. "Can't you just sit for 5 minutes?" Misha paused mid-bite, a little like a broken marionette. But my father, he stared at me with a strange, brittle expression I couldn't place. Not anger, not concern, something closer to pity. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but then closed it. And that silence told me everything. He remembered something he wasn't allowed to remember, or something he was afraid to say. I whispered, voice shaking, "I need to check Grandma." My mother rolled her eyes dramatically. "She's fine. She's just fearing you with her maniacs." But the fear in Grandma's voice threaded through my bones. I stepped into the hallway. The moment my foot touched the board, the house reacted. The lights dimmed, the boards tightened under my weight like tendons, and the air grew colder with every step I took. 1 step, 2, 3. The hallway stretched longer than it should have been. The sound of my footsteps echoed too loudly. 4, 5, 6. My heart pounded. 7, 8. My breath fogged in front of me. 9, 10. The door to Grandma's room seemed farther away than it had moments ago. 11, 12. A cold whisper rose from the floorboards. "Don't open it." 13. I froze. Because the hallway only had 12 boards. Always 12. Every year, every visit, every walk, I counted them. Grandma used to say, "Don't step on the 13th. There is no 13th." And now there was, and I was standing on it. The air around me trembled like the surface of black water. The boards beneath my feet felt soft, not like wood, but like skin. A shape moved under my soles, and it whispered again, "You are home." My throat tightened. No, I'm not. I'm just going to Grandma." But the door had slowly opened. Not by my hand, not by hers, by something else. Inside, the room was pitch black, darker than any night. I took one shaky step forward, and the 13th board flexed under my heel like something breathing. My grandma's voice echoed from the darkness. "Don't look him in the eyes." My breath froze. "Grandma, what's it? What's it?" A silhouette appeared just at the edge of the bed, small, thin, shaking. She lifted a trembling hand and pointed behind me. I turned, slowly, terrified. And halfway down the hallway, standing in the dark between the flickering lights, was the other me. Tall, still, head tilted, smiling a smile I hadn't made. And its eyes were not human. They were doors, dark, open, waiting.